If you are watching this video, you probably have a fashion brand or an apparel brand that's absolutely crushing it on Meta, but you just can't figure out how to launch effectively on Google. And that's totally fair because I see so many apparel brands try to launch on Google and just completely bomb it and lose a lot of cash in the process. As you can see here, this is an apparel account that we're currently scaling that has spent $33,000 in the last 30 days and generated $211,000. They've only started on Google Ads within the last 3 months and they're already getting really, really good results. And I'm going to walk you through this full account and the exact structure, all the behind the scenes at the end of this video. So stick around so you don't miss out on that. But until then, I'm going to walk you through the general fundamental process for scaling an apparel brand on Google Ads. And it is a very, very simple process. You just got to make sure that you do it right, and then you will not waste any money. You'll make sure that you validate your market first and then you scale, which is the only way to run any kind of advertising platform. So let's get right into it. To start with, before any of these steps, I've got step 1, 2, and 3 here, but before any of these steps, you want to make sure that you set up your Google Merchant Center and your Google Ads account. So first of all, go into Google Ads, ads.google.com, and then go to your Google Merchant Center as well. So merchants.google.com. Make sure you have an account on both of those set up and ready to go. Make sure to set it up under the same email as your Shopify account. Of using Shopify makes things a whole lot smoother. Now in Google Ads, you don't have to do anything yet. In Merchant Center, just make sure that you have linked your Merchant Center with Shopify. Now to do that, just go into Shopify, look up the Google and YouTube sales channel, super easy to do. Just go into sales channels, Google and YouTube, follow the steps under the Google and YouTube sales channel to link your Google account and your Shopify account. And then once they're linked, it'll automatically sync your Merchant Center with your Shopify store. This is usually enough for most apparel brands to start out on Google. You don't need a really complex feed setup to get started, especially if you're running it yourself. I just recommend syncing with Shopify, making sure all your products come through, all your data comes through effectively and accurately, and then you're good to go. Now, once you have synced up your Google Merchant Center and your Shopify store, then we can get started on building out the most important campaigns to get your brand scaling on Google. So the first campaign in every single account that I recommend is a branded search campaign. This is just the baseline of your account, essentially. It captures people who are already searching for your brand name. Now, it may feel a little bit sacrilegious. It may feel like you're paying for 2 clicks or paying twice for a conversion. But in reality, it makes an enormous difference. If you don't have branded search campaigns or branded shopping campaigns for that matter, you will be giving up all of your potential ad real estate to competitors when customers search for your brand name. And you'll also be throwing away an enormous amount of highly valuable data that you could be feeding back into your algorithm. So you'll notice here that I've labeled step 1 as BOF. So that stands for bottom of funnel. Now, all of the first campaigns you want to introduce, including a branded search campaign, are going to be bottom of funnel campaigns. The reason for this is because bottom of funnel represents the highest intent users in your ecosystem. These are the people who are very close to purchasing or ready to purchase. And the easiest way to start a Google Ads account is by capturing these people first because they represent the highest intent. They're much easier to sell, much easier to convert, and you can get really, really quick data built up in the account from these customers, which you can then leverage to target the middle of funnel and the top of funnel effectively. So, branded search campaign, as I mentioned, fundamental campaign in almost every account. Make sure you set it up to target just your brand name, nothing else on a search campaign, right? So if your name is Jeff's headphones or Jeff's pants, I guess if you're an apparel brand, that is the only term you want to be targeting in branded search. No other terms except for your brand name. Now, once you got that set up, that is the first step done. Then you'll want to set up a bestseller shopping campaign. So a shopping campaign with just your top 5 to 10 best-selling products. Depends on how big your catalog is. If you have a catalog of 500 products, just put your top 10 in, right? If you have a catalog of 5 products, just put your top 3 in, put your top 2 in potentially, right? Just only put in your best-selling products in this campaign because once again, we're giving Google the highest quality, highest opportunity products to potentially convert customers before we start expanding to our lower intent products, right? So 3 to 5 products in the shopping campaign, they come through from your Merchant Center. You just set it up, very easy to set up a shopping campaign. Just follow the steps on the screen. Make sure you're targeting the right location. And your bidding strategy, you'll just want to go with probably maximize clicks for now. Same on your branded search campaign to set it to max clicks for simplicity if you're not a Google Ads expert. If you are a bit of an expert, use manual CPC. It's going to save you a lot more money. But when you have that bestseller shopping campaign set up, Don't exclude branded traffic yet. Just keep the branded traffic in there in the early days, because once again, you want to be capturing all of the potential data and all the potential customers you can before you start excluding anyone at all, right? And capturing this brand traffic and shopping, once again, is going to make sure that you are there to convert your customer when they're searching for you. Once you have some sales coming through to your bestseller shopping campaign, 5 to 10 sales, you can consider upgrading to a PMAX campaign. PMAX will usually do pretty similar job to shopping. It just has a little bit more kind of reach, a few more placements. We actually run a lot of PMAX feed only campaigns. So basically it's a shopping campaign, but with PMAX algorithm and like a couple of additional placements. We find that actually these feed only PMAX campaigns can perform a bit better than the standard shopping campaigns, just because they have the leverage of the PMAX algorithm and a little bit more opportunity to place in specific places when people are ready to buy. But all that said, you just need a bestseller shopping campaign and then potentially upgrade to a PMAX if you think you can get better performance out of it. I recommend testing both, run them both, and see which gets you better performance. You get better performance with a PMAX, just stick to that. All right, once you've covered the bottom of funnel, once you have these campaigns set up, they're all bringing in some conversions, then you want to move up to the middle of the funnel. This is where you can start capturing people who have a level of intent for your product, but they don't necessarily know about your brand. They're not necessarily ready to buy, but they're definitely interested in buying, right? So you can start most easily with a non-brand shopping campaign. This is honestly going to be where probably once you start scaling, 75% of your budget goes to a non-brand shopping campaign and a non-brand PMAX campaign. So these are very, very similar to the campaigns above. Again, you probably just want to start with your best sellers. You can also be creating all products campaigns, but I recommend starting with best sellers in these ones too. And all you want to do is exclude your brand name, exclude your brand under the brand exclusions tab. So both with negative keywords and brand exclusions, exclude your brand from these campaigns. What this is going to do is it's going to force Google to find new customers, people who may not know about your brand already, and it's going to force Google to prospect a lot harder to find new people, which is really, really good because it allows you to actually get new customers through Google and start scaling effectively. This is where Google starts to become very incremental and you can actually scale beyond branded traffic. And honestly, probably 75% plus of accounts never even make it to the stage. They don't get out of the branded trap and they just constantly convert traffic that is searching for their brand name, but they never reach the non-branded stage. So this is very, very important that you do have these non-branded campaigns so you can actually drive new customer acquisition. Then you can also consider middle of funnel search campaigns. Now these campaigns are less common in e-commerce accounts. They don't always do super well because you really have to have a very high quality and real standout product to convert on middle of funnel search campaigns. So a middle of funnel search might be someone who's searching for hoodies, for example. Very nondescript, but they're interested in buying a hoodie, right? If you have the best hoodies in the world with the highest thread count and the most comfortable and the best designs and every single thing that people want, you could probably convert on that in a search campaign. But the problem is most brands just don't have the leverage to convert on a middle of funnel search campaign unless you're in a really niche kind of arena. If you sell something really specific, for example, like let's say like a non-stick copper pan or something that not many other people have, then advertising a middle funnel search campaign will be really helpful because it lets you get a lot more reach and you're actually likely to convert because there probably aren't many other competitors selling your product or selling a product as good as yours. So middle funnel search is something to introduce after and just to test. And if you don't get performance, don't be dismayed. It doesn't happen for a lot of e-commerce brands, a lot of apparel brands especially. They don't always convert on middle funnel search campaigns. Just test it though, because you may get some extra money out of it. Then branded shopping if necessary. Now, like I said, you are probably still going to have these leftover this bestseller shopping campaign with your brand included and your PMAX campaign with your brand included. If you've set up these new non-brand shopping and PMAX campaigns, you'll probably find that most of your branded traffic just starts flooding over to these old ones. And as you start to decrease the budget or increase the target ROAS, it's going to lean even more heavily on branded. So you can really just use these as kind of branded shopping and branded shopping campaigns, branded PMAX campaigns. But if you want to be really, really smart about it, make sure it's just branded traffic, which I do actually recommend. You can download scripts online that exclude all non-branded traffic for shopping ads and just target branded traffic in shopping. And then you can have this shopping campaign as just a solely branded shopping campaign, and then you'll have your non-brand shopping and your non-brand PMAX to scale up. These are the ones that you'll be pushing all your money into to really scale the account. And that is middle of funnel. Finally, top of funnel. This is a level which honestly very few brands reach. Very few apparel brands especially will ever be profitable on top of funnel traffic. You require a really good product, a really solid market, and a market that really loves you to be able to convert on top of funnel profitably. However, it is the biggest opportunity for growth because this is where most people lie. You probably have, let's say, like maybe 10% of your traffic in bottom of funnel, if that, probably a lot less, right? 10% of your market exists in the bottom of funnel. It's probably more like 5 to be honest. So let's fix that up. Probably about 5% of your traffic is in bottom of funnel, probably less actually, but let's just say 5 for now. Middle of funnel, you probably have maybe 25%, right? Again, it's probably less than this. There is such a small portion of the market at any given time that is like ready to buy from you or even interested in buying from you. And then the other 70% of the market, probably more like 90% realistically, we'll just stick with 70 for purpose of demonstration, is top of funnel. So they're basically unaware of your product. They've never heard of it. They don't know anything about it, and you have to try and convince them to buy it. You find these people on demand gen and on top of funnel search. So again, these are people who don't know about you. They have probably never heard of you before, but you can convert them if you have really good campaigns. Now, demand gen, first of all, is done through YouTube ads and video ads, right? So if you have high quality video ads that you can run on YouTube and YouTube Shorts, that is what you're going to get your leverage from in demand gen, and you're going to reach a really large audience who doesn't know about you. But when you do bring them into your funnel, if you have a really good ad, it gets them interested in your brand, and then it brings them into the funnel, and then it brings them through to middle of funnel, and then eventually they get interested after middle of funnel searching, and they come through to bottom of funnel, and then they convert. Same with top of funnel search. Now, these are a little bit different though. So top of funnel search is usually trying to find people who are, again, unaware of your brand, but interested in something that solves a specific problem. So this is less common in apparel. Once again, you have to have a pretty niche apparel brand for this to be relevant. Let's take, for example, if you were selling like a maternity fitness bra, for example, right? So like a brand that sells a sports bra for pregnant women, right? That's a pretty niche kind of product. However, there are top of funnel searches you can target where you can convert people who have no idea that your product even exists. So it could be someone searching for something like pregnant mother pain when running, something like that, right? For example. And this is a problem search, but these people have no idea that your product exists as a solution to that problem. And you can run search campaigns that target these kind of problematic searches. And then you basically, in most cases, would want to lead them through an advertorial page or an educational kind of page that walks them through why your product is great, why it solves a problem, and then it converts them at the bottom of the page. And if these people are searching for problems that your product genuinely solves and they're not aware of your product, if you educate them really well on the page, there's a very high chance of actually converting them and skipping this entire process and just taking them from top of funnel all the way through to converted, right? Which is obviously the dream. So consider these campaigns if you have a product that solves a very specific problem and is in quite a niche market. But in other cases, you'll just want to be leveraging bottom of funnel, middle of funnel for the most part, and maybe some video ads as well to bring in new customers. So that is everything for me today, except for the account walkthrough. As promised, I will walk you through this Google Ads account, which is running currently at a 6.3x ROAS over the last 30 days, 33K in, 200K out. And you can see right now, the majority of the campaigns we're running are PMax feed-only campaigns. So these are basically shopping campaigns, but with the PMax algorithm, as I suggested in our structure there. Now, these ones actually do still have brand included in them. Usually at this level of scale, we'd be excluding brand, but we find these campaigns are just performing really, really well with the assistance of brand, even with the non-branded traffic. So even if we're just looking at non-branded figures, the assistance of the brand in these campaigns seems to be bumping up their performance. So it's something we're kind of testing with, but it is very likely that we will be excluding brand and separating out branded traffic from these PMax campaigns very shortly. Then we also have PMax assets campaigns. So you can see here, we've separated the PMax with the shopping feeds, with the shopping listings, out away from the PMax with the assets. So these are just like search ads, display ads, like general headlines, descriptions, stuff like that. We did that because we first found success with the feed-only campaigns. And then as we started growing a bit more, we realized that these asset-only campaigns actually were performing reasonably well. So we introduced more of them. And then we got all of our branded base campaigns here. So our branded search campaigns. All we need to do now, really, according to the structure I've outlaid to you guys, we will probably transition some of these campaigns here into branded only targeting, and then having our non-branded scaling PMAX campaigns, shopping campaigns to move forward. And then also some top of funnel stuff if we can get it to convert. This brand will probably struggle a little bit with top of funnel, in all honesty, but you can see there's already so much traffic coming in, so much traffic being converted. So it would be great to push a top of funnel, but it's always quite a challenging one in some brands. So recommend testing, but be careful because you can lose a lot of money on demand gen on top of funnel stuff if you're not careful. Anyway, that's all from me today. I hope you guys found this one helpful. And if you have any questions, any suggestions for future videos, please drop them in the comments down below. If you watch this video and you thought, wow, I would really love to scale my apparel brand like this and get results like this brand does, but I do not have the time to do it. I need to focus on making my products, on designing new products, on fulfilling my logistics and shipments and everything like that, customer service, all that kind of stuff that comes with running an e-commerce brand. We can help you run your Google ads. Just reach out to me, book a call with the link down below. I will show you how to set up an effective structure, or I'll set it up for you, and we'll help you make a lot more money with Google, as you can see from this brand here who did the same thing a few months ago, and they're already reaping the rewards. Once again, that is all from me. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next one.